Good afternoon. Want to welcome all to the March 11th, 2021 meeting of the Sacramento Transportation Authority and the Sacramento Abandoned Vehicle Service Authority. And thank those who've joined us that are viewers or maybe calling in participate. And I know we have a number of board members that are on the line. And so I'm going to turn to our board clerk, Darrell, to call the roll to establish a quorum, and then we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we'll jump right into the order of the agenda today.
Member Desmond?
Here.
Member Frost?
Here.
Member Gatewood?
It should be Member Terry now.
Oh, thank you. Member Guetta?
Here.
Harris?
Here.
Kowalski? Kennedy?
Here.
Miller? Natoli?
Here.
Sandoon?
Here.
Chenier? Cerna?
Here.
Singh Allen? Speece? Valenzuela?
Here.
And Vane?
Here.
And you have a quorum.
Okay. With that, let's do the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'll have you read the information to the record. So if you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, and before we get into the agenda, Darrell, if you could just read the brief message into the record so that those that want to participate know how to do that, and any other information that's relevant, please.
Yes, I can. This meeting of Sacramento Transportation Authority is cablecast live on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on the Comcast Consolidated Communities and AT&T UVerse cable systems. This meeting is closed captioned and live streamed at metro14.saccounty.net. This meeting will replay Sunday, March 14th at 2 p.m. on Channel 14. This meeting can also be viewed at Metro 14's YouTube channel. In compliance with directives of the county, state, and Centers for the Disease Control and Prevention, this meeting is live streamed and closed to in-person public participation. Temporary procedures are subject to change pursuant to guidelines related to social distancing and minimizing person-to-person contact. To make a verbal comment at today's meeting, dial 916-875-2500 and follow the prompts to be placed in queue for a specific agenda item or off-agenda matter. When the chair opens public comment for a specific agenda item or off-agenda matter, callers will be transferred from the queue into the meeting to make a verbal comment. Written comments are also accepted. Send your email comment to boardclerk@saccounty.net. Your comment will be routed to the board and filed in the record.
Okay, thank you, Darrell. Also want to welcome Director Donald Terry, who, as noted in the roll call, replaces member Gatewood on this body, and so we welcome Donald, and we also welcome Mike Kozlowski. Yep, good to have you, Donald. And then also welcome Mike Kozlowski, who is the current mayor of the city of Folsom, and he will be replacing Carrie Howell. I don't know if Mike's on the phone yet, but we welcome you as well, Mike.
I'm here, thank you.
There he is. Okay, good, Mike. All righty. So with that, I don't have any more announcements at this juncture. You'll make the announcement relative to the consent calendar, Madam Executive Director. But then let's go to our comment items. This is an opportunity under item 1 for members of the public who wish to speak to matters that are not on the agenda and address this body. This is the opportunity, and I would turn to our clerk. Do we have anyone who has signed up or wishes to address this board on matters not on the agenda?
No, there are no off-agenda public comments at this time.
Okay, so noted. Thank you. And that takes us right into the Executive Director's report. So I'll turn to Ms. Drago, and Sabrina, it's yours to tell us what's gone on over the last month.
Thank you, Director Natoli. Happy March, everyone. I wanted to start off by echoing Chair Natoli's welcome to Mayor Kozlowski and Director Terry. Welcome to the STA Board. We're happy to have you. To continue on with some good news, we recently received our annual update on revenue projections. Just based on the half-cent sales tax revenue, the authority has an estimated increase of $240 million over the remaining 18 years of the Measure A program, on top of what has already been projected. This additional revenue goes a long ways towards meeting the board-approved target allocations for capital projects over the 2 remaining decennial periods with our 5 eligible partner agencies. And along with that, we are still finalizing our work with our 5 eligible agencies to the remaining CIP program. The program is nearly finalized and will present a summary of the projects and the funding to the board during the April meeting. This program is fiscally constrained and the allocations are directly tied to projected cash flows. The authority and the partner agencies are confident that these allocations will allow the capital projects to be designed and constructed and to create opportunities to leverage additional needed matching funds. The increased projections will allow the authority to program closer to the targeted allocation that was initially anticipated. Please note that the CIP will be updated annually to accurately reflect projections. Along with our work with our 5 partner agencies, the staff has met with the full PAG on February 23rd to discuss the public comments for the decennial review of the Measure A expenditure plan. Per the principles approved by this board and the PAG, no changes were made in the allocations to the expenditure plan. There will be recommendations to add language around eligible expenditures for bicycle and pedestrian safety, as well as education and facilities. The STA staff will bring our recommendations before the board in April. In addition to the decennial update, our partner agencies have responded to Sacog's Community Design Grant Program. This cycle, Sacog has allocated $18.2 million to this program and is both competitive and non-competitive. As part of the Smart Growth Incentive Program in October of 2020, the board approved an allocation of $5.5 million to serve as a match to our partner agencies, with up to $4 million of that towards successful competitive grant applications. The Sacog anticipates announcing the awards in April, and we'll update the board at the following meeting on the recipients and the appropriate STA match. In broader news, as one of the 25 counties in California who collects and programs sales tax and development fee revenue to help fund transportation, the STA is part of the Self-Help Counties Coalition, or the SHCC. In the last month, SHCC has facilitated 2 meetings, the first one with Caltrans Director Tokes Almashakan, to discuss the importance of local funding and to learn more about available partnerships, allocations, and the flexibility around state and federal funding. Director Almashakan confirmed that the federal administration is looking to create a large competitive infrastructure funding program, and he will share specific language and project types with us when he learns more. With the recent passage and signage of the American Recovery Plan, it is believed that Congress will focus on infrastructure next, with surface transportation as a major component. This bill is currently expected to focus on all modes of transportation, including highways, roads, and transit, as well as address environmental justice and innovation. Additionally, the SHCC met with the California State Transportation Agency, or CalSTA, to review and discuss their draft climate action plan for transportation infrastructure, which was in response to the governor's executive order in 2019 to expand clean transportation options. It's important that STA is part of these discussions in order to understand where the state and their funding policies are heading and have a voice for the board, partner agencies, and the traveling public in the region. CalSTA has been working for nearly a year along with the public and partner agencies to develop a robust plan to create a more sustainable transportation network. CalSTA's goal is to maintain and build upon the fix-it-first approach and ensure that all areas of the state can benefit from the changes and alignment of funds and set a framework to balance local needs with standardized approaches. Upon the release of the final report, I will summarize any potential impacts to our agencies. Additionally, as the nominating agency for the CTC's local partnership program, the STA has many opportunities to be engaged in our local projects. To date, we are currently serving as an advisor on a few local projects, including the Caltrans I-5 Managed Lanes, Sacog Next Generation Transit Study, and the Sacramento Regional Rail Working Group. Finally, I'll be presenting at the March meeting of the Sacramento Metro Advocates for Rail and Transit to discuss STA and current Measure A. Additionally, the current contract for the Sac Metro Freeway Service Patrol Zones 3 and 4 on Highway 50 expires on June 30th of 2021. STA will be releasing an RFB for roadside assistance and towing services on these zones in March. The RFB will be sent to our pre-qualified bidders pool. As a slight PSA note, please note that Sunday, March 14th is daylight savings. Historically, there is an increase in traffic incidents the week following daylight savings as everyone is getting used to the new light patterns and during our commute times. So please ask everyone to take caution as they move out and about in our region. So, and finally, there has also been an addendum to the staff reports. Consent items measure 8 and 9 do require board action. So with that serves as my conclusion.
Okay, good. Thank you, Sabrina. So let me turn to members of the authority. Are there any questions or comments to the executive director's report or any other thing you want to inquire about at this juncture in the agenda?
Chair, I'll move consent.
Okay.
We're not there yet.
Hadn't quite got there. Just hey, hold that motion, Member Harris. I was still doing the executive director's report. We're going to call consent.
Okay.
Just a moment. Okay.
Right.
Any? I don't see anyone. Anybody raising a hand around or want to weigh in? No.
No, I do not see any members with their hands raised
Okay,
at this
all right.
time.
And they can just jump in if they choose to. But any members of the public want to address this item?
No, we do not have any public comment for item number 2.
All right. Well, very good. And so thank you, Sabrina. Sounds like it's been a fairly busy month and a lot of things in the works here. So, okay. With that, then we will now then move to the consent items, which are items 3 through 9. So the addendum does not require us to take separate action on 8 and 9. It just allows it to be a part of the package, or I'm going to be...
Correct, they're still on consent.
Yes. Okay. All right. So I'll turn to directors now. I know we had a motion offered on the consent matters. Let me ask, before we take a motion, though, is there any member of the authority who wish to take any item off for discussion off the consent calendar?
Supervisor Natoli, this is Supervisor Frost. I would
Yes.
just like to pull an item for comment, and
Sure.
that would be item number 8.
Okay. So you're okay with leaving it on a consent calendar, but you want to comment on it, or do you want to pull it out?
I don't really even need to pull it. I just
Okay.
wanted to make a comment.
Okay. Well, then would be appropriate. If you want to just read that into the record, Madam Clerk, and then we'll have you make a comment, Supervisor Frost.
Yes, item number 8 is request for proposal for polling consultant.
Okay. It's still on the consent calendar. Go ahead, Director Frost.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Supervisor Natoli. I just wanted to thank you, Supervisor Natoli, because I talked to Sabrina a day or two ago regarding item 8 and the recommendation for polling versus a full-blown expense of consulting, hiring a consultant to look at, possibility for what type of tax measure might be appropriate or be something that the taxpayers would support. And I think at this time, it's prudent and useful information to have. And I also think there's sort of an innate conflict of interest to hire the consultant who's doing the polling, who's going to possibly manage the tax measure if it comes about. It seems like a little bit of a conflict of interest. So this is actually, to me, a better way to approach it, because it's totally neutral and unbiased, and I think it's informative for all of us. So I just wanted to thank you for approaching it this way. Those of us that have been on STA for a while, it's always, how do you go about deciding how you're going to do or what you're going to do. And so anyway, I'm going to go ahead and support the polling and wanted to thank you for your leadership, Supervisor Natoli.
Okay. Thank you, Director Frost. I got to give the credit to Ms. Drago and certainly our staff. But okay, any other comments either on item 8, which has been just called out, or any other consent item? If not, I know Member Harris was going to offer a motion for approval of the consent calendar. Anyone else, Madam Clerk?
No, I do not see anyone else with their hands raised, and there's still no public comment.
Okay, good. So Mr. Harris will accept your motion.
I'll second.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry for jumping the gun there.
That's okay, good. You're a man of action. Okay, very good. So we have a motion and a second then to approve consent calendar items 3 through 9, and with no public comment, and if there's nothing further, so that motion was made by Member Harris, seconded by Member Desmond, or Director Desmond. And if nothing further, if you'll please call the roll.
Yes. Desmond?
Aye.
Frost?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Yetta?
Aye.
Harris?
Aye.
Kowalski?
Kozlowski, yes.
Kozlowski, I apologize. Kennedy?
Aye.
Miller? Miller? Natoli?
Aye.
Sandoon?
Aye.
Chenier? Cerna?
Aye.
Singh Allen?
Aye.
Spees? Valenzuela?
Yes.
In vain.
Yes.
Okay, and your motion carries with Member Miller, Member Chenier, Member Spees absent.
Okay, very good. Thank you for that. Okay, that moves us down to separate items on the agenda. Item 10, which is the Independent Taxpayer Oversight Committee update. And we have a presentation. Is Joan doing the presentation? So is Ms. Baruchi on the line?
Excuse me.
Yeah.
So we are going to have a presenter, Joanne. She's going to be presenting on item number 10. We are getting her on the line now.
Okay.
And she will be giving her presentation. Just one moment.
Okay. A little dead air here, but just bear with us. We're getting there.
Yes, I apologize.
Okay, no. There we go.
Vacancy was a little
All right.
Hello, Joanne, are you there?
Yes,
Okay, we are ready to hear your presentation.
Hi, good afternoon, Joanne.
thank you.
We welcome you. So go right ahead.
Hi, good afternoon. Hi, all. My name is Joan Baruchi. I'm the chairperson of the Independent Taxpayer Oversight Committee. Thank you for having us on the agenda today. We normally try to give the board an update at least quarterly. This past year, of course, you haven't seen much of us due to many different things. So we wanted to get that rectified and changed. And we also thought it was an opportunity with new board members to just remind everybody that we're here and what our purpose is. We were established in the Measure A ordinance and expenditure plan that was approved back in November 2004. We're a 3-member committee, all appointed by you, the board of Sacramento Transportation Authority. We are here to supervise the fiscal and performance audits regarding the use of all sales tax funds and provide for an independent review to ensure that all measure funds are spent in accordance with the provisions of the expenditure plan and ordinance. In doing that, we do conduct the annual fiscal and compliance audit of all Measure A funded activities. As a matter of fact, next week we will be meeting to review the submittals and select a new auditing firm to conduct the next audit. In addition, triennially, we go out to bid to select a consultant to come in and do a performance audit of STA as well. We also review and the delivery status of the Measure A capital projects and ongoing programs on a quarterly basis, which are then submitted to you as well for review. We're also asked to provide recommendations as part of the required 10-year expenditure plan review, which we did do earlier last year, actually. And we also review all the proposed debt financings to ensure that the benefits of any kind of accelerated project delivery exceed the cost of debt issuance. As I mentioned, we're made up of 3 voting members. We also have non-voting ex officio members, 3 of them as well. Our 3 voting members are called out in the ordinance, and they are supposed to be very specific as to the kind of professional characteristics they have with them. One of the recommendations that the committee wanted me to share with the board for your consideration and discussion is adding 2 more members to the committee. Right now, 3 members is sometimes becomes a problem with if one person is absent or 2 people are absent. So we're just thinking that 5 people would just make it a more solid committee. We would also recommend that those 2 people just be taxpayers or public at large that are added to the committee rather than having someone in a specific category or field. So that's just something that if you do decide to amend portions of the ordinance, that is something that we strongly think you should consider. In addition to the 3 voting members, the non-voting members are the current chair of the STA governing board or your designee, the executive director, and the County of Sacramento's auditor or controller. And we do appreciate those members attending with us as well. And with that, I will conclude my presentation.
Well, thank you, Joan. And there may be questions from members of the authority, but thank you to you and your colleagues for your good work and certainly your oversight and guidance as relates to the integrity of the measure and the various moving parts that provide funding for very important transportation projects of different modalities here in the jurisdictions that are served by Measure A program. A couple of things. One, if you could let me know when you do meet, and maybe through our executive director, I'd be happy to try to sit in when possible. I don't know how frequent that is, but certainly I think it's important in the role of the chair to participate as possible. But I think this item, and maybe it's for some future discussion relative to the makeup as it relates to the number of members of the oversight committee. I imagine that would take some work by our executive director working with council, if there's a willingness to consider that. And again, it's just been put forward as an idea. So maybe I turn to Sabrina or to Bill real quickly and then entertain comments from other directors. But what exactly would be, assuming there was some desire by the board to entertain that suggestion by the committee, how would we go about that?
If I could jump in,
Sure, Bill.
you would have to do it as part of your 10-year review.
Okay.
Because otherwise you're limited in the ways you can amend it's part of the ordinance, the membership number.
Okay. So it could be.
So it would have to happen pretty quickly.
I was going to say, is that probably before us here in the next month or two, right?
The ITALC did submit language that they asked us to consider,
Okay.
and we are meeting with the full PAG again next week, and that's part of the discussion, and then obviously we'll work with council and then for presentation in April.
Okay, so it will be for our consideration as a part of our overall package. Is that fair to characterize that way?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay, with that, let me turn to my fellow directors' comments, questions, any responses on any of the items, and anything you'd like the committee to follow up on from the perspective of members of the authority.
Chair, this is Jeff Harris.
Yes, sure, Mr. Director Harris.
So regarding that last issue, as chair, I worked with the ITALC, and I think that this is an idea very much worthy of considering. The function that the ITALC performs, I think, is very valuable to our board. And I would certainly be interested in bringing the possibility of expanding the ITALC forward.
Okay. Thanks, Jeff. Other members, any other thoughts? Again, it sounds like it's going to be before us properly in the next month or two for our consideration. Anyone else at this juncture?
This is Sue Frost.
Yeah.
I agree with Jeff.
Okay. Thanks, Sue. Anyone else? Thoughts? Okay. Well, thank you, Joan. Again, thank you to the committee. And as you've heard just in the conversation here, request has been noted. It's getting its review at the staff and our professional advisory group, and will be before us in a package, I trust, of other things that we'll be looking at in the decennial review and any update to the plan. So again, thank you for your work, and if there's no other questions. Okay. Thanks, Joan.
Thank you.
All right. That, unless there's any other thoughts on that item, that takes us down to last item on today's agenda, which is comment.
Sorry, Chairperson Natoli. I just wanted to say that we do not have any verbal public comment for item number 10.
Okay.
And I also wanted to bring up that we did have one written comment for item number 9.
Okay.
Would you like me to read that into the record?
I think it'd be a good idea. It's a fairly brief one, so apologize for not calling out the written item, but if you want to just put that in the record, I think it would be helpful. Thanks, Darrell.
Absolutely. So we do have...
This is on item 9 for the directors as you listen in.
Yes. So this is from Dan Allison. The Sacramento Transportation Authority should not support or participate in the I-5 Managed Lanes project. This is a capacity expansion project, and all capacity expansion projects are unacceptable due to their climate impacts. The argument that reducing congestion is a climate positive impact has been disproven again and again. Induced travel as a result of congestion reduction always leads to higher emissions of both greenhouse gases and other pollutants. The only acceptable project here would be to convert a general purpose lane to a managed lane in the section between Highway 50 and Del Paso Road. North of Del Paso Road, the highway only has 2 lanes in sections, so there is no managed lane solution that I would find acceptable. If there are managed lanes, they should not necessarily be managed for the benefit of commuters, but consideration should be given to lanes designated for freight traffic. The commuter-induced traffic in the sections between Highway 50 and Interstate 80 significantly slows freight traffic, which is, after all, a core purpose of the interstate highway system, and is not being met due to commuter traffic. And that concludes that written public comment.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Allison, and that for the record, and we took that item up. So if that engendered any other thoughts with directors, we certainly still have the ability to visit any comments, although we've taken action already. So if I see no one,
there are no hands raised.
Okay, very good. Okay, again, thank you for that comment. And then, so any other comments then by authority members, item 11, before the good of the order? Otherwise, this will be a fairly brief meeting. I think April, we can anticipate probably a little longer time on the agenda. So And Darrell, if you don't see any hands, I don't want to hold anybody longer. Does anybody want to comment?
No, I do not see any hands raised in queue for item number 11, and you also do not have any public comment at this time.
Oh, okay, well then everybody can wave goodbye, and we'll bring this meeting to a close, and thank all who weighed in today, and we'll see you back April, the date? Next meeting? Uh-oh.
It's okay. I have it here, and it's going to be April 8th. Yes.
Okay, April the 8th. So we'll see you back April the 8th, and thank you all, and meeting adjourned.
Thank you.